It was supposed to be just a 90-day contract marriage. Strict rules. No feelings. No complications. But now, she was pregnant for the Mafia boss. And nothing in their deal could save them from what came next. Rain hammered against the glass walls of the rooftop restaurant, turning Seoul's night skyline into a blur of gold lights and shadows. The storm wasn't supposed to hit tonight, but somehow it suited the mood. Heavy, tense, unpredictable. A man in a black suit stood by the window, unmoving, as the entire city bowed beneath his silence. His presence pulled the air tight. His jawline was sharp, his brows cold and unreadable. No one dared approach him. Not the guard stationed near the elevator, not the terrified waiter pretending to rearrange napkins. This was Kong Jae-won, 30 years old, feared across Gangnam, leader of the most silent, most dangerous syndicate in Seoul. And tonight, something was off. His phone buzzed. A single message. She's not coming. Jae-won's fingers tightened slightly, the only sign of irritation he ever allowed himself. He didn't look away from Rain. Everyone comes when I call, he muttered, voice low. But she didn't. Another voice answered behind him. The second in command, Min-jun, swallowed hard. He'd known Jae-won since they were kids. He'd seen him angry, ruthless, empty. But this was different. This wasn't anger. It was curiosity, and Jae-won was most dangerous when he felt curious. Find her, Jae-won said. Bring her. But, Hyungnim, she's not connected to the Mafia world. She's just Fine. Her. Min-jun bowed immediately, but before he could leave, the elevator dinged, and the girl they were talking about appeared. She looked like she had run the whole way here. A young black woman stepped into the luxurious rooftop restaurant, drenched from head to toe, rain dripping down her braids, her clothes, her trembling fingers. Her chest rose and fell as she tried to breathe. Her shoes made small, embarrassed, squishing sounds on the expensive marble floor. Her name was Ariana Carter, 22, American, a newly arrived English tutor who thought Seoul would be peaceful. Instead, she was standing in front of a Mafia boss. Every guard tensed. Min-jun blinked. Even the waiter froze mid-step. Jae-won finally turned. Their eyes met. For a moment, everything stopped. The storm, the city noise, the fear. Ariana inhaled sharply. His stare felt like he was looking through her, reading the fear she was trying so hard to hide, the exhaustion in her bones, the loneliness she carried like a shadow. He broke the silence first. You're late, he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried like thunder. Ariana swallowed. I didn't plan on coming. Yet here you are. She looked away. Your men wouldn't leave me alone. I didn't want trouble. You already stepped into it the moment you walked through my doors. She flinched, and Jae-won noticed. His eyes softened, barely, like a flicker of light quickly killed by the wind. Min-jun cleared his throat. Hyungnim, if you want, I can... Leave us, Jae-won said. Everyone left instantly. The restaurant emptied until only the two of them remained, surrounded by rain, quiet jazz music, and the weight of an unspoken secret between them. Ariana crossed her arms tightly, trying to warm herself. Why did you bring me here? You know why. I really don't. She exhaled shakily. I've never even met you before yesterday. And your men just showed up at my workplace like I owed you something. You do. Her heartbeat stumbled. I don't owe the Mafia anything. You do, he repeated, stepping closer. Her breath caught as he approached. The scent of his cologne, dark, expensive, cold, filling the air around her. He stopped just inches away, close enough that she could see the raindrops clinging to his lashes. You saved my mother. Ariana blinked. What? You pulled her out of the street yesterday. A truck almost hit her. Oh. She stared at him, confused. But that was nothing. Anyone would have helped. No, his voice dropped. People don't risk their lives for strangers in the city. You did. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. So this is gratitude? She asked softly. No. He reached into his jacket and placed a folder on the table between them. This is an offer. She looked from him to the folder. Her hands shook as she touched it. Inside was a contract, long, official, stamped with a seal she didn't recognize. But the title made her freeze. 90-day contract marriage agreement. Her legs nearly gave out. A marriage contract. With him. Ariana took a step back, shaking her head. No, absolutely not. I'm not marrying anyone. Especially not a man I just met. Jae-won lifted a hand, and she stopped talking without knowing why. His authority wasn't shouted. It was quiet, carved into his bones. "You need protection," he said. "I don't." "Last night, after you saved my mother, someone followed you." Her lips parted. "What?" "They watched you walk home. Stood across from your building for hours." A chill ran down her spine. Her vision blurred. That can't be." "I don't tell lies," he said softly. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. She remembered a sound last night. Footsteps on the pavement. A figure near the alley. She thought she imagined it. She hadn't. "And why?" she whispered. "Would someone follow me?" "Because you crossed paths with my family," he answered. "And my enemies noticed." He stepped closer again. "You need protection," he repeated. "And I need a cover to negotiate new alliances. A temporary marriage gives you safety and gives me stability." Her voice was barely audible. "This is insane." "Perhaps," he said, "but it's the safest option you have." Ariana squeezed her eyes shut. This wasn't supposed to be her life. She came to Seoul to teach kids, not to get entangled with a mafia boss and his enemies. She opened her eyes. "And if I refuse?" He didn't threaten her. He didn't raise his voice. He simply said, "Refusing won't stop them from coming after you." Her throat tightened. He looked at her with an expression she didn't understand, soft but unreadably dark. "You will be protected," he said. "Federal housed. Paid. Safe." "I don't want your money," she whispered. "What do you want?" A tear slipped down her cheek before she could stop it. "I want my life back." Something flickered in his eyes. Pain? Regret? She couldn't tell, but he didn't look away. "You'll have it," he said, "after 90 days. Her whole body trembled. "90 days," she repeated, voice cracking. "Marry me," he said quietly, "and I'll keep you alive." Ariana looked at the contract again, breath unsteady. Then she lifted her head, eyes full of fear. "Why me?" she whispered. His answer was simple. "Because you saved someone precious to me, and now I owe you a debt I cannot ignore." The lights flickered as thunder cracked across the sky. And then the elevator dinged again. Min-jun rushed out, face panicked. "Hyungnim, someone breached the lower floor. They're looking for a foreign woman." Ariana froze. Jae-won looked at her with a final, unreadable expression. "Your 90 days," he said. "Start now." If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Your support helps the story continue. The elevator doors slammed shut behind Min-jun as he rushed back down, barking orders into his earpiece. The luxurious rooftop restaurant that once felt intimidating now felt like a trap, sealed, silent, suffocating. Ariana's legs trembled. Someone broke in because of me," she whispered. Jae-won didn't answer immediately. He walked to her slowly, his footsteps echoing against the marble floor, each step steady, while her heartbeat spiraled out of control. He stopped directly in front of her. "Stay close to me," he said. Something in his voice, calm, steady, unshakable, forced her to breathe. But the silence broke with a violent crash below them, glass shattering, furniture overturned. A man screamed. Ariana flinched violently. "Oh my God!" Jae-won placed a firm hand on her shoulder. "Don't look scared." I am scared." "You can be scared," he corrected softly. "Just don't look like it." Another crash. The building trembled. The lights flickered. Ariana's stomach flipped. Whoever had broken in, they were close. Too close. Jae-won stared at the elevator, jaw tight. "They're moving fast." His hand slid to the small of her back, gentle, protective, but guiding her firmly toward the service door at the far end of the restaurant. "Where are we going?" she whispered. "Down the emergency route. It's safer than waiting for the elevator." He pushed open the door. A cold rush of air hit them. The emergency stairwell was dim, lit only by flickering red lights. Ariana hesitated at the top step. Jae-won looked at her. "Ariana, trust me." She didn't know why, but she did. They began descending quickly. His grip around her wrist was strong, but not painful, almost as if he was afraid she'd vanish if he let go. Halfway down, the stairwell door 2 floors below burst open with a metallic bang. Boots. Heavy footsteps. Multiple people. Ariana gasped and froze. Jae-won instantly pulled her against the wall, pressing her behind him, shielding her body with his own. He leaned down to her ear. "Stay quiet." Her breath hitched. She nodded. Voices echoed up the stairwell. "She's somewhere in here. The foreign girl." Ariana bit her lip, so hard it almost bled. Jae-won scanned the stairs like a predator assessing threats. eyes sharp and cold. If they reach us, I'll take the front. You run back up to the restaurant and lock the door. I'm not leaving you, she whispered. He turned his head slightly, surprised by her voice shaking with fear and loyalty he didn't expect. I'm not, she insisted. His expression softened for a split second, almost invisible, but Ariana saw it. Then his jaw tightened again. We're not dying tonight. The footsteps grew louder. J1 grabbed her hand and pulled her down the stairs at full speed. They turned a corner, just as bullets ripped into the wall above them. Ariana screamed. J1 reacted instantly, wrapping her in his arms and rolling both of them behind a concrete pillar. Dust filled the air, stinging her eyes. Her heart pounded so violently her chest hurt. He cupped her face, forcing her to look at him. Breathe. I can't. You can. Look at me. Her eyes locked with his, and something grounded her. His gaze wasn't cold anymore. It was fierce, alive, a silent promise. I'm here, he whispered. She swallowed hard and nodded. Good. He tilted his head, listening to the approaching footsteps, then gently pushed her behind him again. We're moving. Now. They sprinted further down the stairwell until they reached the 17th floor landing, where a metal maintenance door led to a back hallway. J1 shoved it open. Ariana nearly stumbled into the sterile corridor, panting, heart racing so hard she felt dizzy. But she didn't have time to catch her breath. 3 armed men were waiting. Oh no, Ariana whispered. J1 didn't hesitate. He stepped in front of her, voice low and dangerous. You picked the wrong night. The men didn't back down. One smirked. We only need the girl. Move Kong J1 and we won't kill you. Ariana's blood froze. J1 smiled. A slow, cold, terrifying smile she'd never seen before. You think anyone touches what's mine? The men lunged. J1 moved like a shadow, swift, precise. He struck the first man in the throat, dodged the second's blade, slammed his elbow into the third's jaw, then grabbed Ariana and pulled her behind a support beam as bullets tore through the wall. Ariana pressed her hands to her mouth, trying not to scream. She'd never seen violence, real violence. Until now. J1 grabbed the fallen attacker's gun and shot out the hallway light, plunging everything into near darkness. The men cursed. J1 whispered to her, stay low, crawl to the door at the end. Don't look back. But you'll go. His voice left no room for refusal. Ariana crawled down the hall, shaking uncontrollably. Darkness swallowed everything. She could only hear the chaos, grunts, gunshots, bodies hitting walls. Then silence. A cold, chilling silence. Ariana froze mid-crawl. J1, she whispered, voice trembling. A shape emerged from the darkness, calm, steady. J1. He grabbed her hand. Up. She stood, legs weak. He wrapped an arm around her waist to steady her. You did well, he said quietly. Her throat tightened. Did you kill them? No. She looked up at him, eyes wide. No unnecessary blood, he said. Not tonight. Thunder rumbled outside as he guided her through another door and into a private elevator that required a key card. He scanned his, and the elevator instantly dropped. Ariana wiped her eyes. Where are we going now? Somewhere safer. She hugged herself, shivering. Why is this happening? Why me? He watched her in silence, expression unreadable. Then he reached out and gently tucked one of her wet braids behind her ear. You got pulled into my world by accident, he said. But I'm not letting anyone take advantage of that. She stared at him, stunned. The elevator slowed as they reached the basement garage. Dim, quiet, empty except for a single sleek black car waiting with headlights glowing. J1 put a hand on her lower back. Get in. She hesitated. Where are we going? My penthouse. She blinked. You're what? No, I can't just live with you. Someone tried to kill you tonight, he said quietly. Do you want to sleep in your apartment after that? She didn't answer, because she already knew the truth. No, she couldn't go back. Ariana lowered her head. I don't want to be a burden. You're not. He opened the passenger door for her. You're my responsibility now. Her chest tightened painfully at those words. He looked at her, eyes softening just a little. And I protect what's mine. Ariana stepped inside the car, heart racing. As J1 walked around to the driver's seat, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. A warning message from Min-June. Be careful. We found evidence. The attack was organized from inside your organization. J1's expression darkened. A traitor. He slid into the driver's seat, closed the door, and started the engine. Ariana looked at him nervously. What's wrong? He kept his eyes on the road. Someone close to me wants you dead, he said quietly. Lightning flashed across the windshield, and for the first time since the night began, Ariana realized the true danger she was in, and the true danger he was, too. The drive to J1's penthouse felt like floating through a different world. Neon lights streaked across the windows. Rain whispered against the glass. The city moved fast, but inside the car, silence wrapped around them like a heavy blanket. Ariana held her trembling hands tight in her lap. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw flashes, the bullets, the bodies falling. J1 shielding her with his own body. The way he said, I protect what's mine. She wasn't used to anyone protecting her. Not like that. Her voice was small. Are we safe now? For the moment, he answered. His tone was steady, but his eyes, focused on the road, held a tension that wasn't there before. A flicker of fear or anger? She wasn't sure. She shifted slightly. Did your mother, is she okay? After earlier? His jaw tightened. She's safe. She doesn't know about the attack. I want to keep it that way. There was again that quiet grief beneath his words. Something heavy, something lonely. Ariana hesitated, then asked softly, Don't talk about your family much, do you? His hands tightened on the wheel, just slightly. Family is complicated, he said. She waited for more. He didn't give any. The rest of the drive continued in silence until they pulled into a private underground garage. The metal gate lifted automatically as their car approached, revealing an empty, polished space with only one other car, a matte gray sports car that looked like it belonged in a movie. Ariana stepped out, hugging her arms to her chest. Everything about the place felt expensive, cold, and intimidating. J1 moved around the car, placing his hand lightly on her back again. Stay close. She did. They entered a private elevator that required 2 key cards and a fingerprint scan. As the door shut behind them, Ariana felt the world outside disappear. The elevator ascended quickly. Do you bring many people here? She asked quietly. No. That was all he said. The doors opened and Ariana's breath caught. The penthouse was huge. Warm golden lights glowed from recessed ceilings. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the entire city. Rain glittered across the glass like falling stars. Art pieces decorated the walls, and everything smelled like cedar, leather, and something faintly spicy. His cologne. She took a shaky step inside. It's beautiful, she whispered. It's safe, he corrected. He walked past her and shrugged off his suit jacket. His white dress shirt was stained slightly where dust and debris had hit him during the fight. Ariana's stomach tightened with guilt. This is my fault. I dragged you into danger. He turned to face her. You didn't drag me anywhere. My enemies attacked you. That makes it my problem. But I didn't ask for any of this, she whispered. He approached her slowly, his expression unreadable. When he stopped in front of her, his voice softened. I know. Her eyes burned with tears she didn't want to show. Come, he said gently. I'll show you your room. He walked her down a hallway filled with quiet golden lights and soft shadows. She followed silently. When he opened the door at the end, Ariana blinked. A spacious guest bedroom, soft cream sheets, a large window overlooking the river, a small reading lamp shaped like a cherry blossom tree. It was warm, not sterile, not cold, warm. You can stay here, he said. She stepped inside and instantly felt overwhelmed. This is too much. It's not. He leaned against the doorframe. You need safety, comfort, a place to breathe. That's all. She nodded, throat tight. Thank you. He hesitated, like he wanted to say something more, but didn't. I'll be in the living room, he said. If you need me. He turned to leave, but then Ariana's voice stopped him. J1. He froze. Slowly, he looked back. She swallowed hard. Back there, when those men were shooting, you didn't have to protect me the way you did. His expression flickered, something raw, unguarded. His voice came out low. I couldn't let anything happen to you. She stepped closer, without realizing. Why? She whispered. His eyes held hers for a long moment. Then he said something that made her heart stop. Because you remind me of something I lost. Her breath caught. What? He exhaled slowly. Someone who wasn't afraid of me. Ariana didn't know what to say. She just stared at him, stunned, heart twisting. He shifted his gaze away. You should rest. You've been through enough today. She nodded slowly. Good night. He opened his mouth like he wanted to respond, but instead, he simply gave a brief, small bow of his head. Good night, Ariana. He closed the door quietly. The moment he left, her legs gave out. She sat on the edge of the soft bed, hands shaking violently as reality crashed over her like a wave. Someone tried to kill her. She was living in a mafia boss's penthouse. She had signed nothing yet, but somehow everything had already changed. A sudden soft beeping noise made her jump. The bedroom intercom. She pressed a button. Hello. J1's voice came through, low and calm. Don't be alarmed. I'm activating the security system. What kind of system? She asked nervously. You'll hear it. A deep mechanical lock echoed through the entire penthouse, shaking the walls slightly. Then a digital hum. Metal shutters slid quietly over the outer windows. Thin enough to keep the view, strong enough to stop a bullet. Ariana's throat tightened. You live like this every night? She whispered. Most nights. How do you sleep? I don't, he said. The intercom clicked off. Ariana sat in stunned silence. She lay on the bed eventually, but her eyes refused to close. Every shadow on the walls felt alive. Every noise made her flinch. Her chest felt tight, her body tired, but her mind racing. Minutes turned to an hour. She couldn't take it anymore. She opened the door, quietly, and stepped into the dim hallway. Soft light spilled from the living room. J1 sat on the couch, elbows on his knees, staring at the city silently. A glass of water untouched beside him. His sleeves rolled up, revealing scars across his forearms. Thin, pale, old wounds that made her heart ache. He noticed her immediately, but didn't speak. Ariana hesitated, then walked toward him slowly. I can't sleep, she whispered. He lifted his eyes to her. Those dark, quiet eyes had seen too much. I didn't expect you to, he said softly. She swallowed hard. Can I sit here? He nodded once. She sat beside him, carefully, like she didn't want to disturb the heaviness hanging around him. For a long moment, neither spoke. The storm outside calmed. The city glowed peacefully below them. Finally, Ariana whispered, Do you ever get tired of living like this? He didn't answer immediately. When he did, his voice was barely audible. Every day. Her chest tightened painfully. She turned to him slowly. J1, what happened to you? His hands curled slightly. He looked at her, not like a mafia boss, but like a man haunted by memories he couldn't outrun. And then he said something she never expected. My father was killed because he protected someone weaker. Ariana's breath stopped. And now, he continued softly, I find myself doing the same thing. He turned to her fully. You. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Before she could respond, the penthouse lights flickered violently. Then an alarm blared, a sharp, piercing, metallic scream. Ariana shot to her feet, terrified. What's happening? J1. He stood instantly, pulling her behind him, his jaw clenched. They found us. The alarm's piercing scream echoed to the penthouse like the cry of a wounded beast. Ariana's heart jumped into her throat. J1, what does that mean? He grabbed her wrist, firm, steady, protective. It means someone breached the outer security layer. But how? You said this place was safe. It is. That's why they're desperate. He pulled her backward as the lights flickered again. Red emergency strips lit the walls, casting bloody shadows over the marble floors. The quiet luxury of the penthouse suddenly felt like a battlefield. J1 pressed a finger to his earpiece. Minjun status. Static, then a broken voice. Kyung. Someone jammed the line. A loud crash. Then silence. J1 ripped the earpiece out and tossed it aside. Ariana flinched as it hit the floor. W, why are they doing this? She whispered, voice cracking. J1 turned sharply toward her, the red lights making his eyes look darker, sharper. Because they think you're important to me. Her breath hitched. I'm not. Yes, he cut in quietly. You are. Before she could process that, a violent boom shook the walls. Ariana screamed and grabbed onto his sleeve. The windows rattled behind the armored shutters. Footsteps echoed above the ceiling. Heavy, controlled, organized. Roof access, J1 muttered. They're coming from the top. He took Ariana's face between his hands for one intense second. Ariana, listen to me. Do everything I say. Don't run ahead. Don't fall behind. Stay with me. Understand? Her throat tightened. She nodded fast. Okay. He grabbed her hand and ran. They moved to the penthouse at full speed, past the silent art pieces, past the glowing city behind the shutters, past comfort that no longer felt comforting. They reached the private elevator. He pressed his key card. Nothing happened. Red text flashed. Access locked. J1 cursed under his breath. They disabled the system. Another boom. This one closer. Ariana's heart slammed against her ribs. Are we trapped? No, he said. We go up. Up, but there. Trust me. Before she could argue, he led her through a narrow hallway she hadn't seen earlier. Hidden behind a sliding panel was a metal ladder leading to an overhead maintenance hatch. Ariana stared. We're climbing that? Yes. She stared at him, helpless. J1, I can't. I'm not strong like you. He didn't hesitate. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. You survived gunfire. You crawled through darkness. You followed me through danger without breaking. His eyes softened. You're stronger than you think. Ariana swallowed hard. He pushed the hatch open. Cold rooftop wind rushed down, carrying the scent of rain and steel. I'll go first, he said. You follow. He climbed swiftly, movements silent and precise. When he reached the top, he extended a hand down. Ariana, come. Her hands trembled as she reached for him. Her foot slipped on the ladder's first rung. He tightened his grip immediately, steadying her. I've got you. She took a breath and climbed. The moment she reached the rooftop, the wind hit her face like a slap. Seoul at night stretched beneath them, glittering lights, wet streets, distant horns. The rooftop was wide, industrial, covered in metal vents slick with rain. Ariana had no time to take it in. J1 pulled her close behind a ventilation unit. She could hear them. The intruders, boots scraping metal. Soft, coordinated footsteps. More than 3, maybe 10. Ariana pressed a hand to her mouth, trying not to sob. J1 crouched beside her, listening intently. The wind whipped through his hair, sending strands across his forehead. Rain began to fall again, light at first, then harder. He leaned toward her, lips close to her ear. They're sweeping the roof. Stay behind me. She nodded shakily. He took her hand again and they moved, low, silent, weaving between vents and equipment. Ariana tried to match his steps, her breath shaking with every noise. A harsh voice shouted across the wind, "Check the east side. The girl's here somewhere." Her knees nearly buckled. J1 instantly wrapped his arm around her waist, steadying her. Without thinking, she grabbed his shirt, holding on like it was the only thing keeping her alive. "It's okay," he whispered. "I'm here." The sky flashed with lightning, white, blinding. Ariana flinched. Then the wind shifted. J1 froze. Someone was behind them. The intruder stepped out of the shadows, a gun pointed directly at Ariana's chest. Ariana gasped. J1 instantly moved in front of her. "No," he growled. "If you're taking a shot, it's at me." The man smirked. Rain dripped from his hair. "You're weakening." Calmed J1. "Emotions are dangerous." J1's jaw tightened. "You know what's more dangerous?" He stepped forward, underestimating me. He moved in one explosive motion, grabbing the man's wrist, twisting and slamming him into the metal railing. The gun clattered to the ground. Ariana covered her ears as they fought. The man swung. J1 blocked. A knee to the ribs, a punch to the jaw. The rooftop echoed with grunts and the clang of metal. Lightning lit the sky again, and Ariana saw something behind them. Another attacker, moving toward J1's back. "Quiet. Fast." "J1!" she screamed. "Behind you." He reacted instantly, ducking just as a metal pipe sliced through the air where his head had been. Ariana didn't think. She grabbed the fallen gun from the ground. Her hands shook uncontrollably. Not to fire, just to warn. "Get away from him," she shouted, voice breaking. Both men froze. J1 looked at her, not with fear, but with shock. The second attacker lunged anyway. J1 grabbed Ariana's waist and spun her behind him as the man swung the pipe again. The pipe collided with a metal vent, sparks flying. J1 used the moment to deliver a swift, brutal blow to the attacker's stomach, sending him collapsing to his knees. The rooftop fell silent, except for the rain and Ariana's shaky breaths. J1 turned to her slowly. "Ariana," he whispered, "give me the gun." She realized she was still gripping it tightly. Her fingers loosened. He took the weapon gently from her trembling hands. "You okay?" he asked softly. She didn't answer. Her knees buckled, and she fell forward. He caught her instantly, arms wrapping around her, holding her against his chest. Her voice was a whisper against his shirt. I thought you were going to die. His grip tightened around her. I told you, I'm not leaving you. She looked up at him, rain dripping down her cheeks like tears. You could have gotten killed because of me. His voice was steady. If protecting you kills me, then I'll die without regret. Her breath stopped. Before she could speak, a helicopter spotlight suddenly flashed across the rooftop. A voice boomed through a speaker. Kong J1, you're surrounded. Surrender the girl. J1 pulled Ariana closer, shielding her from the blinding light. Don't look. W what now? She whispered. Rain poured harder. Wind roared. The helicopter hovered menacingly above them. J1 leaned down, his forehead brushing hers as he whispered, We jump. Ariana's eyes widened in horror. What? Jump where? He pointed toward the adjacent tower, slightly lower, connected by a narrow maintenance beam. Her heart dropped. Lightning flashed across the night sky, and J1's hand tightened around hers, just as the spotlight locked directly onto them. The rain had already stopped, but the tension between them hadn't. Inside the quiet hallway of the underground house, Yejuan stood frozen, his jaw tight, his hands curled slightly as if he was holding himself back from saying the wrong thing. Amara, meanwhile, clung to her tray like a shield, her eyes darting anywhere except his face. For the first time since he met her, Yejuan didn't know what to say. He had faced betrayals, gunfire, ambushes, even assassination attempts. But the confused, hurt look in Amara's eyes, that struck deeper than any bullet. Just tell me one thing, Amara whispered. Her voice trembled, not from fear of him, but from fear of his answer. Back there, when you told your men I was just a random worker cleaning up, was that how you truly see me? Yejuan closed his eyes. He had said it to protect her, but hearing the words repeated out loud made his chest tighten painfully. No, he said quietly, that is not how I see you. Then why? Because if they know you matter to me, he cut in, voice low and sharp, they will use you against me. Every second, every move. Her lips parted in shock. He took a small step closer, but not too close. He respected her space now. He didn't want to scare her again. You matter to me more than you understand. The words slipped out before he could stop them. Amara blinked, stunned. Yejuan rarely admitted things, never showed vulnerability. But right now, the mighty Mafia boss looked human, not untouchable, not invincible. Just a man trying not to lose someone he wasn't supposed to care about. But Yejuan, she swallowed, eyes glistening. I didn't ask to be hidden. I didn't ask to be protected. I just wanted honesty. He exhaled slowly, guilt flickering in his expression. You're right, he said, and I handled it terribly. I'm trying to fix it. Amara looked down at the tray in her hands. I'm not used to this world, she whispered. Your secrets, your enemies, your rules. I don't even know where I fit. Yejuan hesitated, then said something he had never told anyone. You fit right where I can see you. Amara's breath caught. It wasn't a confession. It wasn't romantic. But it was the closest thing Yejuan had ever said to admitting her importance. And she felt it, deeply. Just then, a sharp knock echoed through the hallway. One of Yejuan's guards stepped in, breathless. Boss, we have a problem. A big one. Yejuan's eyes darkened instantly. What happened? The guard looked at Amara briefly, then back to Yejuan. It's about your cousin, the one who hates you the most. He's coming here, right now. Yejuan's expression turned cold, deadly, protective. Amara, he said softly, eyes never leaving hers. Stay behind me, no matter what happens. The storm outside had stopped, but the real storm, it was just beginning. The moment the guard's footsteps faded, a heavy silence settled in the hallway. Amara's heartbeat thudded in her ears. She had never seen Yejuan's expression like this, sharp, cold, protective, almost dangerous. Not aimed at her, but at whoever was coming. Your cousin, she whispered. The one who hates you? Yejuan nodded once. His jaw tightened. His shoulders squared. A side of him she rarely saw surfaced. The calculating leader who trusted no one. His name is Jasung, Yejuan said. And if he's coming here unannounced, it means he wants trouble. Amara swallowed hard. Then what do we do? Yejuan glanced at her, really looked at her, and the softness that briefly warmed his eyes surprised them both. You stay behind me. No questions. Before she could answer, the iron doors of the underground safe house were thrown open with a loud metallic bang. A man stepped in, tall, expensively dressed, a smirk on his face that didn't reach his eyes. Jisung, he looked like Yejuan, same sharp jaw, same intimidating presence, but twisted. Where Yejuan's intensity was controlled, Jisung's felt reckless, hungry. His gaze swept the room, then landed on Amara. The smirk deepened. Well, he said slowly. Who do we have here? New staff. His tone was mocking, like he already knew she wasn't just staff. Yejuan moved slightly, placing himself directly in front of Amara. Say whatever you came to say, Yejuan warned, voice low. But leave her out of it. Jisung chuckled. Oh, interesting. He folded his arms, eyes glittering with mischief. A maid who needs protecting. That must mean she's very special. Amara's stomach nodded at the way he said it. Yejuan's hand twitched, subtle but tense. Jisung, don't start. Oh, I haven't even begun. Jisung stepped closer, ignoring Yejuan's glare. The family's been talking, cousin. They say you've gotten soft. Distracted. Attached. Yejuan's eyes narrowed. What do you want? Jisung shrugged casually. Nothing big. Just checking on the rumors. He tilted his head toward Amara. And clearly the rumors were true. Amara took a small step backward without realizing it. Yejuan noticed immediately. Enough, he growled. You came here to provoke me. Leave. But Jisung didn't move. Instead, he glanced around the hallway, then smiled like he'd finally found what he'd been searching for. Aha, so this is the place you bring her when danger gets too close, he said. Protective, very romantic. The family will love this. Amara froze. Romantic? No, this wasn't that. It couldn't be. She barely understood Yejuan's world, let alone her place in it. Yejuan's voice dropped to something dark and warning. Jisung, get out. Jisung held up both hands, laughing under his breath. Relax, cousin. I'll go. He smirked at Amara one last time. But I'll be back. And next time, I'm bringing the entire council. He walked out casually, as if he hadn't just thrown a grenade into their lives. The moment the doors closed, Yejuan exhaled sharply, a breath he had been holding the whole time. Amara finally found her voice. Yejuan, is this going to get worse? He turned toward her, expression torn between worry and anger. Yes, he admitted quietly, but I won't let him touch you. I swear. His eyes, usually so unreadable, held a truth she couldn't ignore. For the first time, Amara realized she wasn't just involved in his world. She was now at the center of his biggest war. The underground safe house felt colder after Jisung left. Not physically, emotionally. Amara could still feel the echo of his smirk in the air, like a stain that refused to fade. She hugged her arms around herself without thinking. Yejuan didn't miss it. Are you cold? He asked. She shook her head. No, just processing. Yejuan stepped closer, not touching her, just close enough that she could feel the quiet strength radiating off him. His presence was like a shield, steady and grounding. Jisung enjoys creating fear, Yejuan said calmly. He feeds on reactions. You didn't give him any. That frustrates him. Amara wanted to believe him, but her voice betrayed her worry. He saw me as weakness. Yejuan's jaw clenched for half a second. That's not what you are. His tone was sharper than he intended, then softened. You're someone he doesn't understand. That makes you unpredictable. And unpredictable people scare him. Amara almost laughed. I'm not scary. Yejuan looked at her, really looked, and something flickered in his eyes. You have no idea. But before she could reply, a loud buzz came from his phone. Yejuan glanced at it. His expression darkened instantly. What happened? She asked nervously. He hesitated. Jisung wasn't lying, Yejuan said. The family council is already gathering. They want explanations about you and about me. Amara's stomach dropped. But you said you'd keep me out of it. I will, he said immediately, even if it means going against every rule they've ever set. She stared at him. That sounds dangerous. It is. A beat of silence. Then Yejuan did something he rarely did. He sat down, right there, on the edge of the metal table, his shoulders heavy, his defenses lowered. Seeing him like that, it made Amara forget her fear for a moment. It made her see the man beneath the title. You don't have to carry all of this alone, she said quietly. He lifted his eyes to hers. I've carried things alone my whole life. Amara stepped closer, barely a foot away now. You don't have to with me. The words came out softer than she intended, but honest. Yejun stared at her for a long second. Something shifted behind his eyes, something warm and painful at the same time. But instead of accepting her comfort, he whispered, I can't get you involved any more than this. You're safer far away from me. Amara felt her chest tighten. Is that what you really want? Her voice shook just a little. His breath caught. I want. He stopped himself. What? He didn't say it. Didn't dare. Because saying it made it real. Instead, he stood up again, his expression shuddering back to the Mafia boss the world feared. You should rest, he said. We'll leave in the morning before the council moves. But Amara wasn't done. Yejun, what did Jasung really mean? She asked. When he said the family thinks you're changing? Yejun froze for a beat, barely noticeable but real. Then he turned to her, eyes dark and conflicted. Because, he said slowly, they think I'm protecting someone I shouldn't be. Amara swallowed. Me? His silence was her answer. Her heart pounded, loud enough she was sure he could hear. But before either of them could say the dangerous truth hanging in the air, a sudden bang echoed through the corridor. Both spun toward the door. Footsteps. Fast. Rushed. Multiple. A guard's frantic voice yelled, Boss, you need to see this right now. Yejun's eyes narrowed. Amara's pulse spiked. What happened? Yejun asked sharply. The guard panted. Someone leaked your location to the council. Amara froze. The guard continued, breathless. And, sir, they're already on their way here. Yejun stepped forward instantly, voice ice cold. How many? 4 cars. Full security detail. Amara felt the floor tilt beneath her. Yejun, what do we do? He turned to her, eyes burning with decision made in a heartbeat. We run. The lights flickered. Once. The alarm began to ring. And Amara realized this was no longer about hiding. This was survival. Red lights flashed across the ceiling, washing the hallway in harsh color. Amara could barely breathe. The alarm's metallic ringing echoed off the concrete walls, mixing with the guards' hurried footsteps. Everything felt louder, faster, more dangerous than before. Yejun grabbed her hand. Firm, decisive, not gentle but protective. Stay close, he said. His voice was steady, but his grip told the truth. He was tense, alert, ready to fight if he had to. They moved through the underground passage at a fast pace, the cold air brushing against Amara's skin. It smelled faintly of oil and old metal, like a place built for emergencies, not comfort. Behind them, guards scrambled to prepare defenses. Ahead of them, only darkness. What happens if they catch us? Amara whispered, heart pounding. Yejun didn't slow down. They won't. That's not an answer. He looked back at her for 1 second, the kind of look that said everything without words. I won't let them take you. The seriousness in his voice made her chest tighten, made something inside her break and rebuild at the same time. They stopped at a metal hatch that blended into the wall. Yejun touched a hidden panel. A soft beep sounded. The hatch opened, revealing a narrow tunnel. Amara blinked at the cramped space. This is small. It's an emergency evacuation route. Only high-ranking leaders know about it. And your cousin? Yejun's jaw tightened. He doesn't. Amara exhaled shakily. They both stepped inside. The door hissed shut behind them, plunging the tunnel into dim light from small floor LEDs every few meters. Their footsteps echoed softly. For a moment, there was only silence between them, tense but strangely intimate. Yejun, she said quietly. He didn't look at her, but she knew he was listening. Why is the council so extreme? He took a breath. In our world, loyalty is everything. They don't tolerate secrets. And they definitely don't tolerate outsiders getting close enough to affect decisions. Like me? Like you? Amara's heart thudded painfully. So I'm a liability? Yejun stopped walking. The tunnel was silent. Too silent. He turned to face her, the dim light making shadows dance across his face. You are not a liability, he said slowly. You're the only person who has made me question the parts of myself I thought were permanent. The air between them shifted. Heavy. Intense. Electric. Amara didn't know what to say. Didn't know how to breathe. But then, a loud clank echoed behind them. Both snapped their heads back. What was that? Amara whispered. Yejun's face hardened. They found the outer entrance. He grabbed her hand again. We need to move. Now. The tunnel sloped upward until finally, a metal grate, a ladder, a whisper of night air drifting through. Yejun climbed first, pushed the grate open, and scanned the surroundings before signaling her up. Amara climbed out into a small, quiet alley behind a closed convenience store. Neon lights flickered from the main road. Distant traffic hummed like the world was alive, but unaware of the danger closing in. Yejuan helped her out of the opening and closed the grate behind them. She dusted her hands off, nerves still high. "This feels unreal," she whispered. "Like a movie. This is the part of my life I never wanted you to see." She looked at him. "And yet, I'm here." Something in his expression softened. "You shouldn't be. But you brought me." His silence was a confession. Then, from the mouth of the alley, a black car screeched to a stop. Amara flinched back, but Yejuan stepped in front of her instinctively, pulling her behind him just as the rear window rolled down. For a split second, Amara thought it was a council, or Jasam, or something worse. But then a familiar voice shouted, "Boss! Hurry! Get in!" It was Min-jae, Yejuan's right-hand man. Relief washed over Yejuan's face. Only slightly, but she saw it. They ran to the car. Min-jae threw the back door open. "Council cars are 2 minutes behind you," he said breathlessly. "They're scanning the whole district." Amara climbed in first. Yejuan slid in beside her. The moment his door shut, Min-jae hit the gas. The tires screeched on the pavement as they sped into the Seoul night, neon lights streaking past the windows. Amara's pulse raced. "Where are we going?" she asked. Yejuan stared straight ahead, voice low and controlled. "To the only person who can protect you right now." "Who?" His eyes flickered with something unreadable. "My mother." Amara's breath caught in her throat. His mother. The woman he never talked about. The woman he visited secretly. The woman whose hospital room had started this entire story. But before she could ask anything, sirens wailed behind them. Headlights flooded the rear window. 4 black cars. The council had found them. Yejuan, Min-jae shouted, "They're gaining!" Yejuan grabbed Amara's hand again, grounding her. "Stay with me," he whispered. The cars closed in. Min-jae swerved. Amara's heart thundered. And then, a deafening crash echoed behind them. One of the council cars had collided with another car in the intersection, sparks flying. But the remaining 3 sped forward like wolves. Yejuan tightened his grip on her hand. "Hold on." Because even though they escaped the safe house, this chase had only just begun. The tires screeched as Min-jae swerved sharply to the left, avoiding a council car that tried to cut them off. Amara grabbed the seat, her breath shaking. The Seoul skyline flashed past car windows, neon signs, bright headlights, blurred buildings, but everything felt distant, swallowed by fear. Yejuan kept one arm braced against the seat in front of them, the other holding Amara firmly against him so she wouldn't slam into the door. "Almost there," he said. His voice was steady. Too steady. The calm before storm. Min-jae gritted his teeth. "Boss!" "They're still behind us. They're not backing down." Yejuan leaned forward. "How far?" 2 blocks until the hospital." Amara's heart skipped. The hospital? At night? In this kind of danger? Yejuan looked at her with a seriousness she wasn't prepared for. "My mother isn't just a patient," he said quietly. "She has influence the council still respects. If anyone can keep you from being taken, it's her." Amara swallowed hard. He wasn't bringing her there as a guest. He was bringing her there as someone worth protecting, worth risking everything for. The council cars cut through traffic with terrifying precision. One pulled up close behind them. Another moved to the side. They were closing in, forming a trap. Min-jae exhaled sharply. "They're trying to box us in." "Then break the box," Yejuan said coldly. Min-jae didn't argue. He slammed the accelerator. The car shot forward like an arrow cutting through the night. Amara pressed back into the seat, trying to steady her breathing. Every time she thought the danger had peaked, the city reminded her just how far Yejuan's world reached. Behind them, a council car swerved sharply, then clipped a parked taxi. The impact sent sparks flying, but the other 2 remained in pursuit. Yejuan looked out the rear window. They won't fire, not near civilians. They want answers, not a war. Amara shuddered. What if we can't outrun them? He turned toward her, eyes fierce, unwavering. "We will." Something in his voice made her believe him, if only for a moment. Min-jae jerked the wheel to the right. The car slid into the entrance of a parking garage beside a tall, quiet building glowing with soft hospital lights. "Second floor," Yejuan ordered. "VIP wing. My mother's room." The car spiraled upward to the garage. Concrete, echoing wheels, dim lights blinking by. Amara finally exhaled when they stopped. Go, Min Jae said. I'll stall them. Yejun opened the door. No, you come with us. Boss, that's an order. Min Jae didn't argue after that. Amara stepped out, legs shaky. Yejun placed a steadying hand on her back. Stay close. They rushed through a side entrance into a quiet corridor. Cold air, soft lights, the faint scent of disinfectant. For a moment, it felt like they had escaped, until the elevator doors slid open ahead of them. A tall man in a dark suit stepped out. Council member, one of the elders. Yejun tensed instantly. The man looked directly at Amara first, then at Yejun. So the rumors were true, he said quietly. You're protecting her. Amara's chest tightened. Yejun stepped in front of her. She's under my protection. That's all the explanation you get. The elder raised an eyebrow. The council disagrees. Min Jae shifted, ready to fight. But before anyone could move, a voice called from the end of the hallway. A soft, calm, yet firm voice. Enough. The elder froze. Even Yejun stiffened. Amara turned to see a woman sitting in a wheelchair at the end of the corridor, accompanied by a nurse. Her presence was quiet but commanding, warm but stern, refined, elegant, strong. Yejun whispered under his breath, his mother. She wheeled closer, every movement gentle, but her gaze crystal sharp. You come into a hospital, she said to the council member, chasing my son like criminals? Have you all forgotten your manners? The elder bowed slightly. Madam Han, we didn't know you were awake. You never know, she replied. I see more than people think. Her eyes moved to Amara. A long silence, a quiet evaluation. But something about her gaze wasn't judgmental. It was searching, observant, understanding. Finally, she spoke softly. You must be the young woman everyone is talking about. Amara swallowed, unable to form words. Yejun stepped forward. Mother, but his mother lifted a hand to silence him. Come closer, dear, she said to Amara. Amara hesitated, then slowly stepped forward. She stopped beside Yejun's mother's wheelchair. The woman studied her with a calm that felt like sunlight breaking into a storm. You're scared, she said gently, but you're not weak. Amara blinked, caught off guard. And you're honest, she added. I can see it in your eyes. Yejun looked startled. Min Jae looked relieved. His mother turned to the council elder. I will speak on her behalf. The elder frowned. Madam Han, the council has many concerns, and they can address them to me, she interrupted. Privately. The elder hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. But my son is with me, she said firmly, and the girl stays. Silence. The elder finally bowed. As you wish, Madam Han. He stepped back, returning to the elevator. The doors closed. The elevator descended. The tension in the hallway eased, just slightly. Yejun slowly exhaled. Thank you. His mother didn't smile, but her eyes softened. I didn't do it for you, she said. I did it because she is telling the truth, even when she is terrified. That is a rare thing. Amara felt her chest warm in a way she didn't expect. But before she could speak, Yejun's mother added quietly, however, this situation is far more dangerous than you realize. Yejun's brow furrowed. What do you mean? His mother looked toward the dark window at the end of the corridor. The council is not chasing you because of her. Amara's breath caught. Yejun froze. Then why? He asked. His mother's voice dropped to a whisper, heavy with truth. Because someone inside our family wants you removed, and they're using her to make you vulnerable. The hallway fell silent. Amara felt the world tilt. Yejun's eyes turned sharp, deadly. Who? He demanded. His mother's gaze was calm, almost sorrowful, but her words crashed to the air like thunder. The one leading this is Jasung. Amara's stomach dropped. Yejun's expression turned to ice, and before anyone could speak, the lights flickered. A loud explosion sounded in the parking garage below. The building trembled. Minji's eyes widened. Boss! They breached the hospital. Amara's heart stopped. Yejun grabbed her hand, and the world descended into chaos. The explosion shook the floor beneath them. Dust drifted from the ceiling. Nurses shouted down the hallway. An alarm began ringing somewhere deep inside the hospital. Amara's heart pounded so hard she could barely hear anything else. Yejun, she whispered. His grip tightened around her hand. I'm here. Stay behind me. Min Jae stepped forward, tense alert. "They're not attacking the hospital," he said quickly. "They're sending a message they want you to come down." Yejuan's mother exhaled slowly, her expression unreadable. "It's Jisung," she said. "He won't risk innocent lives. He only wants you trapped." Yejuan lifted his head, eyes narrowing, the pieces fitting together. "He wants the council to see me as reckless, as unstable, as a threat." His mother nodded. "And Amara is his justification." Amara felt ice crawl up her spine. "So, I caused this." Yejuan turned instantly. "No, he caused this. Not you." His voice was firm, steady, protective. "You didn't choose any of this." "I did." His mother looked at him, really looked at him, and something softened. "You've changed, Yejuan," she said quietly. "You're not hiding behind that cold mask anymore." He swallowed. His voice, when it came, was low but clear. "Because I found something worth changing for." Amara felt her breath stop, but before she could even process his words, footsteps thundered from the stairwell. 3 shadows moved down the hallway. Jisung emerged first. Calm, controlled, hands in his pockets, expression as unreadable as winter stone. 2 council enforcers flanked him. Min-jae shifted to block Amara and Yejuan's mother. Yejuan stepped forward. "Enough, Jisung." Jisung tilted his head. "Cousin, you really brought her here? To your mother?" Amara felt a sting behind that tone, mocking, almost disappointed. "She isn't your world," Jisung continued. "She's your weakness." Yejuan's jaw tightened. "Say that again." Jisung smirked. "You're proving my point." Another tremor rumbled through the hospital, the aftershock of the earlier blast. Jisung spoke before anyone could react. "This ends tonight. The council believes you've lost control. I'm here to take you in." "And if I refuse?" Yejuan asked quietly. Jisung stepped closer. "Then they'll remove your authority. Permanently." Amara felt the air shift, heavy, cold, suffocating. Yejuan took 1 step forward, then another, until he stood just 3 feet away from Jisung. He spoke slowly, clearly. "I'm done letting you decide my life." Jisung blinked, surprised. "You think you can fight the council? Fight me?" "For her." Yejuan didn't look back at Amara, but she felt the meaning in every word. "I'm not fighting for her," he said. "I'm fighting because I finally see what matters." Jisung scoffed. "You're letting emotions cloud." "Maybe," Yejuan interrupted. "But for the first time, they're the right emotions." Silence. A long, still silence. Then Jisung raised his hand. The 2 enforcers stepped forward. Min-jae tensed to defend. But suddenly, Yejuan's mother's voice cut through the hallway, like a blade. "Stop." Everyone turned. She sat straighter in her wheelchair, dignity radiating from her like quiet fire. "Jisung, you forget who I am." For the first time, Jisung looked unsure. "Madam Han." "You will not touch my son," she said calmly. "Or this girl." Jisung clenched his jaw. "You don't have the council's authority to intervene." "I don't need their authority," she replied. "I have the truth." She looked at the enforcers. Yejuan is not out of control. He is doing what every leader should, protecting innocent life. Her voice turned firm. "And if the council wants to challenge me, I invite them to try." The enforcers froze. Even Jisung remained silent. Yejuan blinked, stunned. She smiled faintly. "You think I didn't prepare for this day? I've been protecting you since before you knew what danger meant." Amara felt her eyes sting. For a woman recovering in a hospital, she was stronger than all of them. Jisung finally exhaled sharply, frustration cracking through his mask. "This isn't over." "No," Yejuan said. "It is." He stepped closer, lowering his voice so only Jisung could hear. "I know what you did, leaking the location, manipulating the council, putting civilians at risk." Jisung stiffened. Yejuan continued. "You're done, cousin." 2 more guards, hospital security, came running down the hallway. Not Mafia, not council, just ordinary people trying to keep the place safe. They stopped beside Jisung. "Sir, we need you to leave," the guard said. Jisung looked at Yejuan, fury and disbelief mixing in his eyes, then turned away. "This isn't the end," he muttered. But he left. The enforcers followed. Silence filled the hallway. A long, heavy exhale from everyone in the room. Then Yejuan turned to Amara. She expected anger, or guilt, or exhaustion, but what she saw made her breath catch. Relief. Deep, overwhelming relief. He stepped toward her. Slow, careful, as if approaching something fragile. "You're safe," he said quietly. Amara swallowed hard. "And you?" He shrugged lightly. "I'll deal with the council. With Jasam. With everything." Then softer, "But not without you." Her chest tightened. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. Yejuan's mother watched him with a knowing expression, warm, gentle, approving. "You too remind me of your father and me," she said. "Stubborn, loyal, too brave for your own good." Yejuan flushed slightly. Amara smiled shyly. The hallway was calm now, silent, peaceful, but Yejuan still looked at Amara as if confirming she wasn't a dream. "Come on," he said quietly. "Let's get you somewhere safe." She nodded, but before they left the hallway, Amara stopped and turned to Yejuan's mother. "Thank you," she said softly, "for believing me." Yejuan's mother reached out and gently squeezed her hand. "Thank you for giving my son a reason to open his heart again." Amara felt warmth bloom in her chest. Yejuan stepped beside her. "Ready?" She looked up at him, at the man who fought his world for her. "Yes," she said. And for the first time since all this began, she meant it. Soft morning sunlight filled the quiet garden behind Yejuan's penthouse. Birds chirped gently. A breeze rustled the leaves. Amara sat on a wooden bench, reading her notebook, her English-Korean vocabulary list slowly growing page by page. Yejuan stepped outside with 2 cups of tea. "You're awake early," he said. She smiled up at him. "You have a meeting with the council today. I want to be awake before you left." He sat beside her, handing her the warm cup. "They reinstated my position," he said calmly. "No more suspicion. No more accusations." "That's good," she said softly. He glanced at her. "But that's not the important part." She tilted her head. "What's the important part?" Yejun inhaled, steady, certain, and took her hand gently. "That you agreed to stay. With me. Even after everything." Amara looked at him. At the man who once lived like a shadow. At the man who now let her see his light. "I didn't stay because of what you did," she said softly. "I stayed because of who you are." His eyes warmed. "I'm still learning how to be that person." She smiled. "That's the beautiful part." They sat in comfortable silence, the morning calm wrapping around them like a promise. A quiet life. A safe one. Together. Yejuan lifted her hand gently. "Amara?" "Yes." He took a slow breath. "After the contract ends. I don't want us to end with it." Her heart fluttered. He continued, voice steady but nervous in a way she had never seen. "I want something real. Not forced. Not for protection. Just us." She squeezed his hand. "I do too." Relief softened his entire face. A rare, genuine smile tugged at his lips. "Then let's start again," he said softly. "Not as a contract, but as partners." Amara leaned her head on his shoulder. "I'd like that." The wind stirred gently. The sunlight warmed their hands. Yejuan whispered, "This time, I'm choosing you. Not because I need to, but because I want to." She smiled. Finally, the world felt safe enough for love. And for the first time since meeting him, Amara allowed herself to whisper back, "I choose you too." And with that, their story, born in danger, found its peaceful, hopeful beginning. A true happy ending.